One of the biggest problems faced by projects wishing to implement strong authentication to Windows with smart cards is the actual enforcement of that policy. With Active Directory, there are typically two traditional means of doing that. One is by explicitly forcing the user account to only allow interactive logon with a smart card. This actually results in randomizing of the Active Directory password and blah blah blah. Another way is by doing it on by group policy. This is based on the computer. So if you're logging on a particular computer which is in scope of a group policy enforcing that behaviour, then you will have to use a smart card. However, if you were to log on a workstation not within scope of that policy, then you wouldn't need to use a smart card. This is a partial solution. One of the biggest panics in these projects is often the use case scenario where the user has got smart card logon enforced on his computer and is working away from the office. Let's say he's a consultant or a home worker, and for whatever reason he can't log on with the smart card. It's broken, damaged, lost, and it's not practical for the user to go to the office to get a new smart card. This is a scenario that is fearful, high in the minds of any project manager implementing strong authentication, and this is something which the CLM add-on products, which I'm going to demonstrate today, will hopefully help overcome. It works on the principle of blah 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 blah. So the first thing I'm going to do is enroll our user Simone for a smart card. So I'm going to access CLM as a security officer and do a simple, straightforward, centralized issuance of a smart card to Simone. So at this stage there's nothing particularly different than I would enroll any other user for a smart card in CLM. I'm going to execute and assign. So whilst the CLM is going away and enrolling the smart card and a certificate for Simone, once the enrolment has been completed, there's going to be a CLM notifier which is going to trigger the setting of a couple of attributes on Simone's account such that it is then prepared for emergency smart card logon. What that effectively means is the next time Simone logs on with the smart card and the logon script runs, then his emergency password will be set and injected into his credentials on his machine, and the previous password which Simone was using will no longer be possible to use. What I'm also going to do is, once this has completed the enrolment, is also go into the CLM add-on question and answer module so that Simone can set some answers to his questions, such that in a future exercise when Simone needs to call into the help desk to confirm, to request an emergency password, the help desk will be able to validate Simone calling in. So the smart card has been enrolled. The next step I'm going to do is access the CLM add-ons to get the Q&A functionality. So I'm going to go into manage passphrases, and here I've got the selection of which questions I would like to ask, but I'm going to not do anything particularly clever. So we've now set the answers, Simone set the answers to his questions, and we're ready to do a log on using the smart card. Thank you. So I've now taken the smart card from the reader attached to the Windows XP machine where I did the enrolment, and I've attached it to the Windows Vista machine where we're going to do the log on. So I'm going to log on at the Vista machine. We're going to log on with the smart card. So I've just inserted the smart card into the reader. Windows Vista has detected that it's read Simone's information from the digital certificate, and we're going to log on to Vista as Simone. So what's going to happen now is this account has already been prepared for emergency password authentication. So once the Simone is logged on, the logon script is going to run. It's going to connect to the web service over HTTPS, and it's going to generate the new emergency password, and at the same time it's going to inject that emergency password into the cache, into the credential cache on this Windows Vista machine. So I'm going to log out of Vista, and I'm going to demonstrate now that already that emergency password has been set and unknown to me. So I'm just going to try to attempt to log on as Simone using the password which I previously had used, and the username or password is incorrect. That's confirming that we no longer have access to the original password and it's been randomised on Simone's behalf. So Simone has successfully logged on with his smart card, and the emergency password has been set and injected into his cached credentials. So the use case now I want to demonstrate is Simone working away from the office. Let's say he's in his hotel room or he's working at home, he's away from the office and he has lost his smart card. He can't log on with his smart card anymore. So what I'm going to do to simulate being away from the office, I'm going to disconnect the network. So that's completed. So effectively he's going to be logging on with the cache credentials now. I'm now going to be a help desk user, and imagining that Simone has called in to say, please may I have my answer to, please may I request my emergency password. So the help desk user is just going to log in to the Gemalto add-ons and access the emergency password functionality. Just going to search for Simone, and we can see there that the answers to Simone's questions are presented. So at this stage we'd be asking Simone those questions and we can validate them pretty easily. The emergency password is then displayed. So this is what is going to be communicated over the telephone to Simone. I'm just writing it down here. One thing to bear in mind, that there are configuration options around the length of that emergency password. Ordinarily that would be significantly longer, but for the purposes of a demonstration I made it quite simple and easy to remember. So we're now going to switch back to the Vista machine and imagine that we're Simone trying to log on with emergency password. So we're already at the right screen. I'm now going to enter that emergency password which we just saw, FF1D-A226, and try to log on. And if all's been successful, that emergency password was already present in the credential cache on this machine, and it's enabled Simone to log on. And you can see that there's no just proving the fact there's no network connectivity. And that's the end of this demo.